YourTV has partnered with the Alzheimer Society for a series on Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Here's part 1.
Hi, I'm Shelley Vaillancourt. I'm here from the Alzheimer Society. I'd like to spend some time talking to you a little bit about our assumptions of what dementia is like, to get a better understanding of what that is. The best way to do that is to talk to somebody who's living with dementia, and that's what we're going to do. Michelle, welcome. Can
Hi.
you introduce yourself?
I'm Michelle, and I'm living with dementia.
Okay, and so you're going to help us to understand dementia a little bit better.
Yes.
Who is it that has dementia, Michelle?
It's my father.
Okay, and how long was he diagnosed?
About 3 years ago. Yes.
And he was young.
He was very young. He was diagnosed at 56.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So that must have been quite interesting for your family.
It was very interesting. To be honest, we thought it was a misdiagnosis. Him being so young, we thought there was no way that it could be dementia or Alzheimer's because we were under the assumption that that was a disease that only affected people who were older.
Right.
Not somebody of his young age who was still working.
And that, I think that's a perception that we all have related to what is dementia, that it affects people who are older exclusively. And so there's some things, I'm sure, in terms of the stigma that you've encountered as a family, and certainly your own perceptions of what is dementia that are affected.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I remember one of the things that you talked to me about previously was thinking that since Dad's now diagnosed, tomorrow he won't remember who we are.
Right.
Right? Can you talk about that in terms of the progression?
Yes, I feel kind of silly thinking of it that way now. But I thought it was a very night and day diagnosis. I thought that once you were diagnosed, things started to happen immediately. Once we knew, then we would be looking for all these differences and these signs. Mm-hmm. And in fact, not that much has changed. I mean, we do notice things, but not to the extreme that I expected it would be. We do notice slight memory losses, but there was a situation where we were all sitting around talking, and we were talking about a gentleman that we all knew, and none of us could think of his name. And then all of a sudden, my dad pipes up and says his name just very loudly and kind of looks at us all like, there you go. You know, I'm the one who remembers. So that was kind of funny, you know. So you expect that it'll be the person with dementia that's going to be the last one to remember, when in fact it was him that was able to reach back and get the memory. So,
right.
Yeah.
That's an excellent story, and I think it really changes a little bit our understanding of what to anticipate, because people live a long time with dementia.
Right.
And when we come with perceptions, sometimes we want to do things for the person rather than allow them to do what they're still able to do, right?
Yes.
And that create frustration for your dad?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. But with your help, the Alzheimer Society, we've come to realize that it's important to focus on the things that they can do and not the things that they can no longer do. And I'm coming to realize more and more every day that the list of things they can do is actually longer than the list of things that he can't do at this point.
Right.
So, you know, we're just focusing on that and trying to be patient. While it might take him a little bit longer to accomplish the tasks that he's doing, he can still do them and do them just as well.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember one time that you mentioned that you were in a store having to buy some flooring.
Yes.
For a renovation that you were doing, and your dad helped you out. Can you tell that story?
Oh, sure. So he's always been very mathematical. So you can call him, we used to test him, you know, and call him with these ridiculous math questions. But I remember being in Home Depot one day and calling and saying, you know, I found this flooring. I really like it. It's on sale. This is how much is in a box. How many boxes of this am I going to need for my house?
Right.
And he just said, well, your kitchen is about this big, and so you'll need this many boxes. And I said, well, it's this much. Like, how much is that going to cost? Making sure that, you know, it was in the budget. And he just threw out the numbers. We got to the cash, and it was within dollars of what he had told us. And we finished the floor. I think we had like one box, you know, the spare just in case box left over, and everything was perfect. So, I mean, he used to be able to do that right just out of nowhere. Now it takes him a few minutes, but I believe he could probably still get there, but it might take him a little longer.
So I think that's a big point that you relate, is that we need to be patient for him to be able to do that.
Yes.
Because he's not able to do it quite as quickly
Right.
as he was able to do it before, right?
Yes.
One of the things I think that I find is so wonderful with your family is that we have a walk for memories that is hosted throughout our region, and your whole family comes with your dad to show how proud you are as a family and that this is a diagnosis that you're working with together.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in fact, I think it has brought us closer together. I mean, we are pretty close to begin with. Some of the additional spouses and things like that have had a hard time adjusting because we're always so all on top of each other. But they also have been very supportive and jumped in and joined us as well. So that's been really nice. And to learn about all the resources that are so readily available from the Alzheimer Society has been quite incredible as well.
Excellent.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Michelle, for coming in, for taking the time to share your perception from before and your perception now in terms of living with dementia, because I'm sure those who are listening today will learn a little bit more about what is dementia. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley.